Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and thank you for tuning in into another C# programming video. This time, as you can read, we're gonna do gameplay programming. So I've got a very simple scene here that I made with the default player, default first-person controller. I can walk through the scene and just jump around and look pretty, nothing else. So what are we gonna do, right? This is the gate I want to walk through. But in order to open the gate, we need to have, say, several keys that we need to pick up. Once we have the keys, I want to have like a message on screen like saying, hey, good job, you found the keys. If I do not have enough keys and I'm at the door here, you should also get a message saying that, hey, you need to find more keys. And once we open the gate here, we can jump in this pit here, pit of doom, that will tell us that we're dead, and then we will reload the entire level, and then we're gonna spawn back to where we actually started. That's the plan. So I'm gonna grab my first person controller here. I'm gonna a little bit orientate it a little bit better. There we go. So we need to do a couple of things, right? We need to have a key object. We need to make several scripts. We need to have an animation for the actual gate, and we need to have a way of actually opening the gate as well. So playing the actual trigger as well. So what I usually do is I just first start with the player script here, and then I'm gonna write some pseudocode. So player script, I'm gonna just open it real fast in Visual Studio. Okay. Let's wait for it. So I'll make it a little bigger here. So what I want to do, right? So I want to have multiple keys in our level that the player can pick up. There we go. If we have, let's say for example 3 keys, then we can open the door /gate. If we don't, then display a message. If we do, then also display a message. And open the gate, of course. And if we jump in the pit, we reload the level. So this is the plan, right? So we need a couple of scripts, right? So for example, the keys, they need to have their own scripts. So custom script. The player should have have a variable that counts how many keys we have. So how many keys? Oh, keys. The door needs to check, does the player have the amount of keys that we set? So check if player has keys. We need to have something that can actually display a message, so we're gonna need a UI over here. We also need a UI over here as well. And we also need an animation for this. And then we need to have a script here that reloads the level. So as you can see, we need to do quite a lot of work, but it's very much doable, right? So let's just start up top here with the multiple keys. So I'm gonna create a game object. I'm gonna create a simple sphere here. Sphere, there we go. Beautiful sphere. I'm just gonna place it somewhere. I'm gonna place it beneath my arc. There we go, on the ground. So this is the first key that we're gonna have, right? So the first thing is that we need to make sure that the sphere collide over here is set to is trigger. I'm also gonna make it a little bit bigger so you can't really not pick it up when you walk over it. So then we need a script for it. So I'm gonna make a new script. I'm gonna call it key script, for example. And I'm gonna open it real fast. Okay. So in this case, we don't need the start or the update function, so I'm gonna delete them. And the only thing I'm gonna need here is the default on trigger enter function that we have. Again, the other is the object that actually hit the collider, so we can check if it's actually the player, then we could do something. If it's anything else, we don't care about it, right? So if we want to say if the tag of our other object is the same as player, then we do something, right? So then we want to do something. In this case, what I want to do is first is I want it to disappear. So we can do that in 2 ways. We can say I want to destroy the actual game object. And this is the game object that the script is on, right? So if the script is on a player, it will actually destroy the player. In this case, I'm going to put it on a key object, so this will actually destroy the key objects. I'm going to go to my key here. I think I'm going to call it key. Make it a little bit easier. Key. I'm going to put my script on it over here, and then I'm just going to hit play here. And in theory now, when we hit the object, it should just vanish, right? So I'm going to go here. and pick it up, and see it's gone. It's vanished. They work really well, but destroying objects is expensive. Because when you actually destroy an object, it will has to be picked up by the garbage collection. So if you want to be more efficient, we're gonna do something else. We're gonna say game object dot set active. So we're gonna just turn the object off, right? So we're just gonna say it's still there, right? The game object is still actually in the scene. We just turn it off. We just set the active to false. So now when I hit it, just keep an eye on here on the actual key object over here. Gonna walk over it. It's still gone, but it's still in the scene, right? So it's still here. It's still here. I can just turn it off again. Then we pick it up again. So this is a little bit more efficient. So the object is still there. We just turn it off. That's it. So we also need to do something here as well. So we need to tell the player script as well. The play script. Just gotta do it properly. Player script that we've picked up a key, right? So we need to have a function or a variable in our play script that keeps a track on how many keys we've picked up. So we can do here, well, we just do one first real fast. So the easy way, the dirty way would be we're gonna create a public boolean, and then we're gonna say has key like this. And by default we're gonna set it to false. So the public bool has key false. So now when I look in my play script here real fast in my player, I'm gonna drag it on here. So there it is. Right, we now have like a public variable which has the key. Now in my key script I can now say, for example, we're gonna get the other, and then we're gonna get the component of the other object. We're gonna get the player script value, and then we're gonna say dot has key is true, like this. This is gonna work. This is gonna work fine. So I'll show you. I'm gonna click on my play script here and just keep an eye out here on the actual boolean value. I'm gonna hit play. And you should see what happens. I'm gonna go here. And you can see, right, it actually turns on. This is fine. This is a way of doing it. Commonly though, this is seen as bad practice because you kind of always want to have everything set to private, right? So this is just what they would call bad practice. So how to do it properly then? How to do it like good practice? So we actually need to make a function, right? That actually does the same thing, but we need to make a function. In this case, I'm going to make a public void function, and then we're going to say set key, for example. And then in here, we're going to set has key equals to true. So instead of calling the actual variable like directly, we're going to call this function which sets the variable for us. This is a little bit sexier. In this case, we can set here dot set key, right? So this does the same thing. It's just, as they would say, this is good practice, right? So we now set the actual value here. So you can also see that it's now gone in my play script here as well. It's no longer visible, see? But if I turn on debug, we can still check it, right? So it's still here. So I'm going to play this again and you see what happens. Just keep an eye out on the actual script here. Bottom right, has key. See, it still turns on. Same thing, it still turns on. But it's now hidden, right? So this is a little bit more, as they would say, sexier. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off debug like this. Okay. So I also want to keep track of how many keys we've picked up, or if we have picked up a key. So I'm gonna make a canvas real fast. I'm gonna go to my UI. I'm gonna make a canvas. There it is. So, and in the canvas, right, this is just a giant UI that you can use to put stuff on it. So as a child here, I'm gonna click on UI again. I'm gonna add text. I'm gonna make sure it's top left. I'm gonna call this key count, for example. Key count. And everything else, I'm going to leave it to default here. When you check the game here, it says now new text. I can change it to something like keys or whatever. I don't care because I'm gonna fill this by using code anyway. So for now, I'm just gonna leave it blank. Nothing in there, just empty text, and that's it. So in my player, I kind of wanna set that value over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a new include over here up top. I'm gonna say using and Unity engine .ui, so we can actually access the UI stuff inside Unity. And in here, I'm gonna make a private variable. I'm gonna make a private text. I'm gonna say key text, right? But how do we actually get that object over here in the actual player script, because we can't drag it in here. Else we would have to like look for it, so we have to do like a game object.find and then use a string, which is really inefficient. So what I can do is I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say serialize field. So this object will now get serialized or saved. Also the benefit is that it will actually show up here again, right? So we can now drag it in here like this. It's still private, right? It's still private. We can't access it from a different script, but we can. It's shown up in the expector, right? So you can actually put stuff in here that is still private. You cannot access it from anything anywhere else, except for the inspector itself, that you can drag stuff in here. So the benefit of this is that if you were to change something, right, in the actual object over here, we can change the name, whatever. It actually gets stored here as well, right? It does update by itself. So this saves us a lot of stuff. And a lot of pain. So I'm gonna just do it like this. So by setting it to serialized field, we make it visible in the inspector, but it's still protected. And that's how we can actually do stuff like this. So at start here, I just want to say key text, right? And then dot text is, well, and then I want to do a 0, but you can't do that, right? Because this is an integer, and then we need to actually convert this into a string. So usually you can do like toString. This is super weird, right? You have like an integer value here, which you then convert to an actual string. And now we can actually use this. I'm gonna hit play here, and it should say at the top left 0. Yes, it does. 0. Okay. Now I'll pick it up. Nothing happens because we don't call for it, right? We don't actually update the actual value over here. So in my script here, I can do it either here in my onTrigger enter function. I can actually call a function that will update it, or I can do it here. So in this case, I'm going to do it here because we have a function that is called setKey anyway. Might as well do it here. So I'm going to do here key text dot text equals again 1 to string. So we convert the integer 1 to an actual string. And then I'm going to hit play. We should see that it actually updates into a value of 1. Perfect. But what if we don't know how many keys there will be in the scene, right? That could happen. You think like, yeah, I want to have one object here, one key here that I want to use. What if you have multiple, right? Of course, I can just duplicate this. That's fine. Just put it over here. It will still work. I can still pick this up. That's going to be okay. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to show you. I can pick this up. That's going to be okay. I can pick this up. Okay as well, but the value here doesn't change, right? It doesn't change at all. And of course, if I were now to want to open the gate, I would actually like have to hard code. Like we now have 2 keys, right? Which is not really sexy or efficient, right? So we kind of want things to be dynamic, so it changes based on how many keys we have in the scene. So if I go to my key game object here, I'm gonna set a tag to key because I have already made this one. So I'm gonna set the tag to key, and now I'm going to duplicate this again. Oh, over here. And then we can actually store this in a list somehow. So we can actually set this value over here to something else. So this right now, this is a single value that we can actually store. But in Unity we have a thing called a list. You can have say a private list of a certain type, in this case of a bool. I'm going to give it a name, has keys. And that's going to be a new list of bools like this. So this is a list, right? The cool thing about a list is that you can actually append stuff from this. So for example, right now we have a list that's called has keys. I'm going to say has keys, etc. Right? Right now it's empty, so there's nothing in here. There's no value in here. So what if I pick up a key? I want it to be filled with the first key over here. Then I want to add maybe a secondary key here. Then you can add stuff to the actual list. That's the benefit of a list over an array, because usually an array has a fixed size, right? You have to say up front, okay, this array is going to have 4 items in it or 2 items in it. And with a list, it's dynamic, so you can add it to this. So you can actually say here, for example, in my start function, I'm just going to do it real fast, has keys. Keys, you can say dot add, and then you can add, okay, I want to add a true value to this, or I want to add a false value to this. You can also just clear the entire list, right? You can just say clear. then the entire list is now again clear, or remove a certain value, right? You can say remove or remove add. I want to remove at the second object in the actual list. So that's the benefit of this. So we have to change stuff here. So in this case, when we have the set key here, I want to say has keys dot add, and then I want to add a true value over here, like this. So we're gonna, every time we pick up a key, we're gonna add something to that list. In this case, we're gonna add a true to the list. So if we have 2 keys here, we'll have 2 true values in our actual list. And we can also use that list as well. So we can actually use the length of it, right? So we can say has keys here dot count. So how many items are there in my list? Oh, why doesn't it work? List bool cannot be, oh wow, count to string. Sorry, like this. So this is count, okay, how many items are there in the list, and again we have to parse it to a string, otherwise we can't actually use it. So now if I pick up 2 keys, it should say that we have 2 keys. Let's check it out real fast. Gonna start at 0, it's correct, and then we're gonna pick up 1, we're gonna pick up 2, you see, right? It actually updates based on how many keys we picked up. So if I add, I'm gonna add 3 and 4 here as well. So we should now have 4 keys that we can actually pick up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect, right? Perfect. And you're all turned off as well. So they're still in the game, but just not there. Beautiful, beautiful. So a list is a dynamic object that you can add to and remove stuff from, right? That's perfect. So you got this part checked. So now we're gonna go here. We're gonna check to see if the player can actually open the gate, right? So also the gate itself, we're gonna need a script. So I've already added the colliders here, and already added box collider to the wall as well. Oh, this should be gone, sorry. So right now, this object has the actual colliders, right? So I'm gonna add a script here on this one. So I'm gonna create a gate script. It works the same thing, it works the same way as the actual key. So I'm gonna drag this on here. Oh, is that correct? Yeah, on here. And the reason why I'm doing it on my wall here, because this actually has the isTrigger collider, right? So this has the box collider which is set to isTrigger. That's why we put it on this one. Same thing here, I don't need this part over here at all. Again, we're gonna do for the void on trigger enter. Again, we have to make sure that if it's the actual player or not. Sorry, compare tag player. Okay. Then we need to check, okay, how many keys are there and how many has the player picked up. So we need to check how many keys are there in the level, for example. How many does the player have? Are they equal? If so, open the gate, and if not, display message. That's it. So first though, we need to check how many keys are there in the actual level, right? We don't know upfront it. Of course, you can just count it and like hard code it in here and say, okay, private integer keys is in this case 3, right? But what if your game designer or yourself, you want to add more keys to this, and then all of a sudden this doesn't work anymore, right? So you need to go back into your code, change the code, which is really tedious because you can easily forget it, and then you get a bug that you don't know why it's there. So what I'm going to do here in my void enable, so enable, I'm going to check how many keys are there, right? Again, so I'm going to create a simple list. It's almost the same. Well, we can actually, no, let's just do it in here, that's fine. So we have the keys, right, which all have a tag, which is perfect. So what I can do here in my enable is I'm going to say game objects dot find objects with tag, and then we say key, like this. So the cool thing is this returns an array, right? So, and with an array we can actually say how long is that array, length. This will tell us, okay, how many are there in our actual level with this amount of objects, which is perfect for this. Don't know why I'm getting an error here. That'll be used like a method. Yeah, of course. So we need to store this into a value here. So I'm going to create a private integer again, amount of keys. And then I'm going to store my length array or the length in here. So like this. So when the game starts, before the first frame is started, we're going to find all the objects with the tag key. We put that in an array and we get the length of that array. So now I'm going to debug this. So I'm going to debug this real fast. Amount of keys. Oh, sorry. We should see 4 keys right in the console. I'm going to go back to my console here. I'm going to print it and we should say 4. Okay, if I now add one more, for example, here, I'm going to add a 5th one, just because we can. 5. We should now say 5. There it is. Perfect. So this way it's dynamic. You can add keys, you can just delete keys if you want to, but in this case it's actually dynamic, right? So we know the amount of keys that we have in the scene. Then we can check here how many does the player actually have. So we need to get a value from our play script. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a public function. In this case, I'm going to set a Boolean function, right? I'm going to say return keys. And in this type of function, if you say a bool or an integer of strings, you also need to return that type, right? In this case, we need to return a true or a false. We have to, right? Because that's why we set it to a Boolean. We actually have a list of Booleans. Actually, we can delete this one now. We have a list of Booleans. So, and if it's a list, you also need to return the list. In this case, we can do this like this. We can say list bool, like so, and then it demands that you also return a list of Booleans, right? In this case, it has keys, like this. We can do this. We can do it like this as well. We can also do a different function here as well. We can also say a public integer, return keys. This is going to form an error here because we have 2 of them, so I'm going to block this out real fast. In this case, right up here, we return a list, but you can also say I want to return the amount of items in that list. So we can say here return haskeys.count, for example. So the count is an integer, which is the value from 0 to like 1 million that we need to return, which is an integer, right? So that's why public int return keys, and this returns the amount of keys, or amount of objects we have in our haskeys list. This is a little bit more efficient than this one. So we can actually now use this in my get script here. So if the other .get component, again, play script dot return keys is the same as our amount of keys, then open the gate. Else, right, if do not, we need to set a message, like set message that we need to pick up more keys, right? So we now does this part over here, open the gate, if not display a message. So I'm going back to my scene here, and in my canvas I'm going to make a new text part over here. So I'm going to UI text. I'm going to call this a message. Now this will be a generic message that we can always change, right? That's the cool part. I want it always to be changeable. So we're going to make a universal function for displaying a message. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here, maybe a little bit more red and bold and bigger, like this. Okay, so again, in my play script, I need to make a serialized field. I'm going to make a private text again, text, and then I'm going to say message text. So we can now drag in our message text object into my play script here. Let's drag it in here. There we go. Perfect. And at the start, I just want it to be nothing, right? So in this case, I'm going to say message text is, and then string dot empty. This is an empty string. It has no value, just empty. Oh, that's, sorry, dot text. Dot text. There we go. So a string dot empty is just an empty string. It's nothing, right? Perfect. So I'm going to make a global function. So again, public void set message, for example. And then in that part of here, we need to actually set the message itself. So I'm going to say message. And then we're going to say message text is message. So if I now call this function from somewhere, right? So I can say here set message. Then in the brackets here, I can say something like this, right? And this value will actually be put in our message, which will be then displayed in our message text, which is exactly what you want to have. So in my gate script, if we do not have enough keys, I want to say again other.getComponent, play script, and then set message. In this case, you need more keys, exclamation mark. Okay, let's check it out. I'm gonna hit play. In a second, hit play. There we go. Perfect. So again, the message is empty right now. Just gonna pick up one. Let's do 2 keys, 3 keys. When I get close, you need more keys. It's cool, right? But then the message doesn't disappear. It just will always be there. It will always be on screen. So we need to somehow turn it off. Let's say after 4 seconds, I want it to be turned off, right? So in my play script here, this is the part where we actually set the text, right? So I want to do it in here. We're actually gonna use a thing called a coroutine. So and the way you use it is you create a IE numerator like this. Let's call this reset message like this. Now every IE numerator also needs something to return. It needs to return something. In this case, I'm going to return null, just to get away from the error. And then in this function here, we can actually say I want to start my coroutine, which is the reset message, like this. Now the cool thing about this is this runs parallel to the actual main game thread, for example. So you actually have a game loop running, and by starting a coroutine next to it, there will be a second function or second timer, for example, that will be run this. That will run this. Anything in here, it will run this. So what I want to do here is I want to do something that's called a yield return new wait for seconds. I'll say 3 seconds here. So this is just going to wait 3 seconds, and then everything here will be executed. In this case, I want to say my message text. Oh, doesn't work like that. My message text.text is again string.empty. It's empty string. So we set the message here, right? In our gate script, we set the message over here. It will set the text over here. Then it will actually start a coroutine. So in this case, it's a reset message. This is gonna wait 3 seconds, and then it's gonna empty the string. So I'm gonna hit play. It should work. Let's hope so at least. Okay, I'm gonna pick up a couple of keys here. I'm walking. You need more keys, and gone. Right? Perfect. That's exactly what we wanna have. And every time this is done, or if you want to be sexy, you can also like a stop coroutine. Reset message. So we stop the coroutine itself, so it doesn't keep running in the background or anything. Just stop it. That's it. Okay. So we have the part that if we do not have the amount of keys, then we get a message here. This part here. So now we just need to open the gate, right? We just need to open the gate. So first thing we're gonna need is an extra animation, of course. Otherwise it's gonna be a little bit boring. So I'm gonna go to my world here real fast. Zoom in. On my gate. Okay, so this is the one that I actually want to open, right, like this. So I'm gonna go into my window, animation. I'm gonna create a new clip. I'm gonna put it in assets here. I'm gonna call it gate open. Then we're gonna add a property. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. So what do we want to animate? In this case, we want to animate the position of the actual object. It's probably just going to be the I in the Y direction, but I'm going to go for 2 seconds, which is more than enough. 2 seconds here. And then here, hit record. And just going to move it up like this. Now when we place back, see, you actually now got an actual animation. Perfect. So let's make it a little bit sexier. So yeah, I want to have like a small, little bit of a delay here that just like chops, a little bit choppy. There we go. That's better. Check the curves, because this probably will look not that good either. Oh. Zoom in. Let's do a little bit lower here. And this one over here, let's zoom out. Jeez. Oh, this one I want to lower it down so it actually picks up more speed along the animation takes. Absolutely beautiful. Right. But first thing we see, right, it loops. I don't want it to loop. So I'm going to close my animation here. I'm going to find my actual animation. This one can open. And I'm going to turn off loop time. So now we just play once. That's it, right? It's just going to play once and then it's going to stop. So if you now look at the actual gate open, right, the parent object. Oh, wow. It should actually have an animator. It actually didn't work. Okay. Oh, it's here? Oh. That's fine as well. 1 second. I need to remove some stuff. Oh, okay. So on a gate, right, we now have an animator component. This one over here, gate open gate. This one. When you double click on it, it will actually open up the animation or the animator window. Right now you see there's a entry state, an exit state, an any state, and a gate open state. So this is what they will call a state machine. So right now entry is just where the game starts, right? And now when I hit play here, you're gonna see what's gonna happen. It will just do nothing. Wow. Actually doesn't do anything. So, which makes sense because this does not have. Oh, I need to fix this real fast. This one. That is so weird. Actually, I'm gonna do it here. Remove. See if it now actually works, would be nice. It does not. Why won't you not work? Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. You see what it actually plays. The animation plays. Doesn't show in the game, but it actually does play. This one. Actually gate open. You can actually just drag it in here if you want to as well. So when I go back to the animator here, you can see gate open. Or you can just drag in your animation like this. Just gonna delete both of them. Gate open. This will actually put the animation in there. But this will run regardless of we have the amount of keys or not. So I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna add an empty state here. So create state empty. I'm gonna make this the new default layer state. This one, and then I'm just gonna not do anything for now. Just leave it like this. So it doesn't play. You now look at the animator, you see the state is not being played over and over and over again, which is exactly what I want. So what I can do now is I can create a transition between my new state and my gate open. Like this. Now when I play again, it actually doesn't animate for some reason. Oh yeah, I know why. I did something stupid. If it's static, it cannot actually be animatable. Sorry. See, it will still do weird stuff. I don't know what just happened. What the fuck just happened? Okay, I'm just gonna do it like this real fast. The fuck? That was cool. Okay. I don't know why, but I'm gonna remove this again. And I'm gonna put it back here. Oh, animator, there we go. Okay. Now it works fine. Right, and it just plays and stops, right? But I don't want it to play at start. Because right now there is no condition when this gate can open, right? There is no condition. It said you can just go here from new state, it will just go entry, it will just new state, it will finish this state, and then it will just move on to my gate open. But I don't want it to do that because I'm gonna add a condition. So I'm gonna go to my parameters over here, I'm gonna click on plus, I'm gonna add a boolean and it says open gate, which is a boolean. So in here, I'm gonna click on my arrow thingy over here, and I'm gonna say condition open gate is true. So by default, by this is set to false, it doesn't open. But only if you set this to true, then it's gonna open, right? I'm gonna turn off has exit time. So right now it should not open at all. And does not. See, perfect. But we now have a problem-ish. Our script is on the wall, right? Our animator is on the gate. So how do we get the animator in this script, right? That's going to be a little bit tricky. So in my gate script here, again, I'm going to go to my on enable. So we need to do a little bit of something weird. I'm going to apologize in advance. This is a little bit weird. What we can do is we can go to our parent object, so transform.parent. So we go to our gate open, and then we can say get component in children. So get component in children. Then we say I want to get the animator component, right? Like this. So we also need to store it somewhere. So I'm going to make a new private value here. So private animator, animator, like this. I can store this in here. Animator equals transform.parent. So we get to the parent from a wall. We go to our parent object, and then we say get component in children. So find the component called animator in one of the children or children objects in our get open script. This one, in this case, over here. So then we have this, right? We actually have access to the animator. Then we can actually call a function here. That's animator.setBool in this case. That will be open gate and then true. So the open gate value over here, that is the one that we just added here, right? That's the open gate. They have to match exactly, otherwise it's not going to work. So if if we have enough keys, then we're going to set this value to true, which should trigger the animation for the door. I'm going to pick up the keys real fast. That's 1, 2, 3, 5. Gate opens. It doesn't close again. Perfect. And then we get the next part here, that where I jump in here, the game should just reload. So when I go here, I'm dead. So, okay. This works fine, right? This is perfect. If you want, you can also set a message here as well. So if you want, I can also say error.get component here. Get component. Play script. Set message, right? Since this function here is universal, right? We can say here, good job. And then it will actually display the message for 3 seconds, and this will just disappear. So let's do this. Let's test this real fast, and then we're going to do the last part. So 1, 2, 3. There's bunny hop. You have to. Message, good job. Perfect. It will disappear. There we go. We can jump in and die. Okay. So how do we do that? Same. It's pretty much similar. I'm going back to my scene here. I'm going to find my awesome pit, which already has a box collider on it with a trigger. So I'm going to make a new script. I'm going to say def script. I don't know what else to call it, so let's put it on the pit. In this case, I'm going to drag it on there. I'm going to open it. So if the player enters the trigger, so again on trigger enter. If the object that actually hit the trigger is actually the player, compare tag player, then reload scene. But to do this, we need to go up here again. We need to use Unity Engine .scene manager, scene management, sorry, this one. So we can actually access the scene management part. In this case, we need to do something else first. So we need to go to our file, build settings, and then you add, if you have not done that already, you need to add the open scenes here. And keep in mind this number next to it, right? In this case, it's 0. It's 0. Okay. So I want to display a message here like you're dead, and then after like 2 seconds, I want it to load. So we need to do a couple things again. So in this case, we're going to do this again. So other.getComponents play script. Set message. You dead, son. And then after a couple of seconds here, I want to do this again. So I'm going to again create an IE enumerator. Load level. And again, yields return new wait for seconds. Let's do 3 seconds here. And then in here, I want to say scene management, scene manager.load scene. This case is 0, right? And that 0, I just mentioned, is the one up here. So this is the number of the index of the scene. This is 0. So it waits 3 seconds, then it loads the scene again. In here we need to again start the coroutine. In this case it's load level, like this, and there we go. So let's test it. Should work, I hope. Okay, pick up the keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pick it up. Open the gate. Good job. Let's jump in. You dead, son. And load the level. And we're back. See, and now I can do this again and again. Good job. And pop, there you go. Cool. So that was it for today, at least. Next video is going to be more complicated programming, because this is still basic gameplay stuff. I'm going to make it a little more complicated next time. So I hope to see you again. If not, thanks for watching, and otherwise I'll see you again soon.